right mindset. So I kind of let it go by for a little while.
Okay.
I started again back in 2020. I think it was the end of 2020.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right. So listen, quick guys, just a little background. Some of you are new on here. Most I've met already. Steve Bayonne, founder of Skype and Crypto University. I got started in crypto back in 2015. So, not the earliest adopter, considering, 09 guys were in. But at that time in the space, it was nowhere near as developed as it is now, right? We probably had like the big three. And all you guys heard me talk about this: Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP. And then I would say as of the last 2 years, so 15, 16, I just had my holdings, just kind of tucked away. 18 was the Black Swan event, which if you were in crypto, you knew it's just a major, something major that could happen that's catastrophic to a particular asset class. So it basically tanked the market. So at that point, I just, it was kind of a good thing because they had me just kind of reevaluating, the industry as a whole. So I would say probably like 1920. So every year I've been following it just the maturation of the asset class. And what got me to really jumping into crypto early on was, and again, I'll keep this short because I this is kind of the same spiel I do all the time, but college friend of mine. And then once I heard the words decentralization and then peer-to-peer, you start to realize that it could be something here. And then since then, watching the rise of like Airbnb and Uber, which I would still consider peer-to-peer, right? Because usually it takes you to be a big developer to even get into the hotel industry. So we're talking about two disruptive companies that allowed individuals like me and you just to make money off of assets that we owned. And then today we have like Turo. So what I want you guys to realize is when everybody hears cryptocurrency, all they think about is money, and then it confuses them because they're like, oh man, there's so many projects. The reason for so many projects is each one has a particular case use. Some are just super trash. And I'll tell you this from the start, guys, and most of you already know this, but when the regulations come, I would say 95% of this industry is just going to go under, right? Most of these projects have no real case use. These are just rug pulls. I've seen as sophisticated as they are, you guys know we've lost hundreds of thousands in this space. I've been part of pump and dump clubs. I've been part of rug pulls. I mean, you name it, since 15, I've endured so much in this industry. And I've also made the most money I've ever made also. So you got to take the good with the bad. It is the wild, wild west. Champ's not on here today, but he's my partner in the university. So Champ's real bullish on a lot of, Deegan plays, high yield farm, just things that give you high APY. So I was involved in that industry years ago when it first set in, and this was before like crypto really had like lending platforms. Now you got guys like Nexo. There's still people kind of trickling in. You just have a ton of DeFi companies. So if any of you follow the market, you'll understand. So Mark Cuban and most of the billionaires in the space, when asked what are the sectors that they think it has the biggest upside potential, and everyone to say it's the DeFi. So DeFi in short is decentralized financing, right? So it's removing the middleman from a transaction. So today we bank at most of these major banks, or some of you at credit unions. And I'm just speaking for myself, and I could almost guarantee that we're all in this boat, right? So banking since a young age, right? You're just so happy to get a checkbook back in my day, depending on how old you are. And then the rise of the debit card. So you give this institution your money, in return, they give you a card that you could spend. If you don't have a particular limit with them, most of the larger financial institutions, they're going to charge you a maintenance fee every month, right? So this is speaking from experience, guys. So one of my first banking mistakes I made was trying to pull, I remember going to the ATM machine at an older age and depositing a check, but then I wanted the cash out. And I remember putting the incorrect amount in, thinking it was going to give me change, right? So again, not coming from a background of financial literacy, I'm banking on my own, figuring this thing out. And I can remember losing the funds that day. And then today, as I look back on it, you simply go inside the bank. But when you're young, you just panic. And that was my first banking mistake. And then I can remember a time when I had to kind of build my credit back up. And again, today situation is a lot different. The way that you guys like running through these credit bureaus. Back then, it was totally different. So to get back on, and this is still a process now. You can get a secured bank card. So I've been banking with Bank of America for probably over 25 years. So I went to them and said, hey, listen, I need a secured card. I'm trying to build my credit. Cool. How much do you want to put down? So if anybody knows a secure card, if you give them 500, they're supposed to in return give you the card, secured against the 500. Bank of America held it for months. Finally realized, I was like, hey, listen, that card never came. So I went back to the branch. I said, hey, listen, what's happening? They told me, hey, you got denied for the secure card. I'm like, how do you get denied for a secure card? I gave you access to my funds. So I gave them the 500, 2 months, they held the money. Pandemic comes. Steve's always been a serial entrepreneur, right? For as long as anyone has known me, you've always known that I've owned a business. The last time I've worked was probably my maybe sophomore year of undergrad in college. So we're going way back. The last time I actually was on record working for a company. So since then, serial entrepreneur, product after product in various industries. It wasn't until the start of the pandemic. So I had a lot of friends in the institutional side. Hey, Steve, you should get involved in stocks. And mind you, I hustled everything but understanding of the markets and how money moves in America. But I've always had money, terrible spending habits, right? So you make money, spend money, make money, spend money, right? Simple cycle. So even as an entrepreneur, you can still operate with the same check to check mentality that most W-2 guys operate on, right? Not understanding, you got to get the money in. I've had good months and I've had bad months, but the expenses, stay constant, right? 3 cars at one time. Shit was looking good, but then 08 came. That housing crisis it didn't take us under in 08. It might have took probably like 2, maybe 3 years to catch up to my wife and I. And this is when, my first son was born. So now we're really understanding, right? So at the time, I remember the mortgage broker saying, hey, you guys could get $1 million house. Luckily, we didn't go too crazy. It was just a condo. But understanding that, this was the no doc era, and it's still no doc now. But, at that point, everything was flowing. I owned a couple of retail stores on average, and then Hop is in here. I lived in Providence, Rhode Island. It's a good friend of mine. We're talking about $200 t-shirts. Money was flowing. Credit was everywhere. And then the shit just stopped. So now we're headed back into the cycle again. This is something that happens every 7 to 8 years, right? But what's pivotal now in these times is, hyperinflation, the pandemic. We printed a ton of money. And then now you have this, we're on the brink of World War III, food shortage. The pandemic caused so many supply chain issues. So now we're just in this bottleneck, guys, and it's going to get a lot worse, right? We're just beginning. And I tell people, like, we would pray that we would get back to the lockdowns because the shit we're about to face now, I don't think anybody realizes the severity of what's about to happen. So gas prices today is a pretty good discount considering we're at 8.5% inflation. But you guys have to understand, inflation goes a little bit deeper. I'm not going to go into it on this call. Every industry has its own inflation rate. So when they're giving you this blanket statement, it may not affect you. So, I own real estate and I have rental income that comes in, and guys, it's the best hedge against inflation. I prayed I had more doors, right? Because that's the one stable that I have right now. But right now, 90% of my income, and you guys probably noticed already, is all in crypto. So I've touched every space you could imagine. DeFi, spots. I teach, most of my guys on here, we trade futures every day. So there's just so many sectors, gaming, NFTs. So when I set out on the university, again, with losing the money, I said, listen, the first thing that I have to do is I have to handle people with care, right? Because this industry will eat you alive. And I think that's the biggest issue when you go on to social media. Hey, this 12-year-old sold an NFT for $3 million. It's just, everything is shock value, right? But what I tell people that get into crypto, I said, listen, if you're just getting in now, you don't realize that these kids that are buying, $8 million rocks or, apes and all types of things for this insane amount of money, they're sitting on so much Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? So they're not like us. So if you're just getting in now and you're seeing a $40,000 Bitcoin price, you got to understand there's guys in this industry that got in at $90, $100 on Bitcoin. I have a $90 position on Ethereum. So today, if I want to do something really silly in the NFT world, I could do that. I could absorb it. So $2.9 million for a a tweet from Jack Dorsey last year, right? He's like, oh, let me put this tweet out as an NFT. This is what really set the industry off. The bids go out, a guy gets it for 2.9. As of a few days ago, that guy, well, this past week, he put it back on the market for resale. So he paid 2.9. His highest bid as of 2 days was $6,800. Just 2.9 million. So now when the news comes out, people are like, holy shit, the NFT market is crashing. NFT market's been crashing. The twist with the NFTs is if you can get on a whitelist and they build up enough, and again, look at the peer-to-peer. Do not pay attention to, oh, I don't understand what NFTs are. Just understand the power of people, right? So if today, group economics, if today we all put up, $100 and we invested in a vehicle and we continue to just grow it and bring more people in, we can, in essence, we create a fund. What tends to happen on the institutional side is they say, hey, listen, guys, you need to be a accredited investor. So if anybody knows anything about that, there's certain criteria, there's certain limits. So again, we play in a space of finance where it's the big guy and then it's the little guys, right? You have to have a certain amount of money to even be included or into most of these clubs at the end of the day. And some of them are just like, even if you had the money, you just wouldn't have the information wouldn't flow to you, and you would need someone to introduce you to bring you into the sector. So, I know a lot of high net worth individuals that are investing in projects in crypto right now, where it's special invite only. We could be investors in the coins, but actually investing in a company. So there's going to be a few companies in crypto, I'd say within a year, that are going to be publicly traded. So again, fast forward to today, Visa, MasterCard, Bank of America, every major financial institution has a trading desk or something built into the space. So whether it be the metaverse, which I believe is just FOMO right now, it's just a fear of missing out. Everybody just wants to, no one knows exactly what's going to happen. But the metaverse today is only built on a bunch of Ethereum guys who are just loaded with money and they're just buying land. And then what's happening is there's just a trickle effect with everybody trying to keep up with the Joneses. But then when people like me and you come into crypto, we get smacked in the face because the first trade or the first NFT we buy, it sinks. Why? Because there's no mentorship. So in 2015, when we set out, we didn't have any sort of mentorship in crypto. It was just a bunch of guys, talking high level. It was all about mining and, it was just one of those things. But again, I stuck on peer-to-peer, not so much digging into all the projects. So today it's just a wealth of information. So when new students come to me, they're like, Steve, I don't know where to start. And this is confusing. But the one correlation between everybody that makes that statement in crypto is they have a terrible relationship with money, right? So if we can't be the masters of our own money and we don't know how this thing moves or what banks are doing, then you find yourself behind. So when there's a new financial instrument that's on us now, mixed with technology, and I'm 44, so my peer group, we're not so old where we're off the internet, but when you start to talk to 50, 60-year-olds, they're not looking to really catch up at this point. But it's a pivotal time in history now because the money is a lot harder to generate today than it was a few years ago when it was flowing. So this is what I call the give back time. So every guru or every self-proclaimed genius that has put out a product in the last 2 years has won, right? We've all looked great, but now when times are difficult, this is what's going to separate the men from the boys. So same thing happened in 08. This is a cycle that happens, guys. People jump on a particular wave. You got to understand, a lot of these guys are making money off of you making money. So when they could hedge, they can buy $40,000, NFTs and then, kind of pump them. The other thing I tell guys too is be careful because we're in the information age. So there's so much information out there, but you have to understand not everybody has your best interest in mind. A lot of projects, I don't know who the owners are, intimately. So you don't know what could happen. Rug pulls are a big part of the industry, but what people fail to realize, it's not that people set up these structures to really say, hey, I want to scam people. Some do, but then the liquidity in the market is one of the biggest issues, right? Because when you have so much price volatility, it can create a problem depending on what pairings you're coming into. So this may go over some of your heads, but we'll be sending out some information this week on just the DeFi market, and I'll just give you guys some basics, before we start to jump in. So I have Johan on the call who bought in Jackson. Johan is he's a member of our university VIP. Johan's been with us for a little while. Johan comes from the financial sector. One of my main purposes, well, one of the reasons I created the university was saying, listen, if I can build a group of individuals that know how to look at this market the way that I do, plus they can add, some skill set to it, then that's more eyes on it, right? So if it's just myself looking at things, then if anybody knows, there's so much information out here. So when everybody goes out, everybody's trained to know what to look for. Everybody comes back home and they start to share the information. So again, I've been involved in DeFi. I've made a lot of money. I've lost some money on some projects, and I was just a little apprehensive. So today, as of probably like 3 weeks ago, I've already kind of changed the model up to say, hey guys, listen, I'm going to give you the risk levels. But to make this money in this industry, we have to take chances on certain products. And then, a lot of our guys who are new to financing, if they lose a future call for $10, they're sick to the stomach. So I had to be real careful, because then I'm like, shit, you're the master of that trade, but imagine something working for you that goes under. Would you be able to accept it? I have a relationship with money where I know for a fact, money's just a part of an imagination. It's only worth what somebody's going to give you and what you're going to get in exchange for it. So it's not real to me. Yes, it's needed, but I don't trip on it, right? It comes and goes. Now, when I get it, I flip it like there's no tomorrow. So again, as I was trading back in the fall, I've mastered futures, had a good little groove on it. I said, you know what, the best way to keep people engaged in crypto or any activity is by helping them make money daily. So I launched the university with the futures in mind, where I give the calls and the students kind of make the money. And then, with some training that's coming, most guys are pretty good at it. Some people still kind of struggle, but the struggle is not so much with the calls. The struggle is just with mindset. So now we're going to start, I'm going to start teaching a little bit more mindset classes. Because at the end of the day, if you made 2 million and you have, terrible mindset and relationship with money, you could spend 3 million, right? Depending on what. So one of my biggest issues with, and Jackson, you've been in here for a while, and I don't know, I have another friend of mine here, Rockland, but he's been in the industry for a while too. And the biggest issue that we have is when we're in these spot calls, mass adoption is not here yet. So yeah, we made money on Doge. You could scalp on a lot of these meme coins, but I look for future. So everything that's on my ledger is future, and it's locked away and I'm holding it. But the problem is you can't make any moves. So I started to use a platform called Nexo, where I've been leveraging my credit, to get it out, to turn it to cash, to then do what I do, which is real estate development. And I've taken out a few loans. So that's one of the first DeFi products, lending platform, just mass adopted, right? And it's pretty safe. I've been on there for a while. So you send your crypto there, and then what those guys do is they'll stake it for you, and I make money every day on my crypto. So what was happening with Nexo is, and they've just really changed, because when regulations come, they're going after the stable coin first, and then they're going after the DeFi market. So this is a timing play, guys. We have to generate as much capital in this DeFi market before the powers to be start to come in. So with Nexo, it was the first time I was able to pull out a substantial amount of money without giving my name or social security number. It didn't matter to them, right? It was just, I leveraged, they gave me 15% base, 50% loan to value on the assets that I sent to them. So I'm borrowing against my Ethereum now. I take that offline. I do my real estate project. I bring that money back. I pay the loan off. They unlock my assets, and then I can keep generating money. But the problem when you get into the DeFi space is, if you borrow against it at 50% and the asset starts to drop, and I've had a few friends that are on here, and they've been liquidated. They've lost, Bitcoin, they've lost Ethereum, they've lost XRP. I mean, some major coins from the liquidation if you don't know what you're doing. So now I'm mentally prepared to take you guys down this road. You got to thank Johan on this one, because he bought these projects to me. One, I knew about. And then, once you're in this world, you're just going to keep finding these projects. The issue that I find with the world is, again, if a bank, let's say Bank of America, we were all of us drew our money out of Bank of America, that they go under, right? They have no liquidity. They cannot lend to make money on your money at this point. So this is what's happening in the DeFi spaces. Crypto guys are just, it's like they're schizophrenic, right? It's this guy's giving $1 billion APY. This one's giving, 9 billion. So what happens is they entice you with high APYs, right? High returns on your money, but then it'll taper down. And then eventually when that liquidity goes away or something shifts in the market and the pairing or whatever they're trading against, it tanks, and people call it a rug pull, but it's really, you got to understand, it's a computer that's working, guys. So because of the volatility, the project may not have rug pulled where the owner took the money and left. It could have just it could have just been a liquidity situation. There was a DeFi project that just, and it wasn't a rug pull, and they're working to do right by their clients, but they changed the algorithm in their payouts and on the lending side, and then it caused the price to spike and then the price to crash. So it went from like, you know, a couple $100s to like $1. I don't have that project offhand, but I could send you guys the article in the documents that you guys would get by early next week. So fast forward to now, figuring out how to make money daily in this market without risking the future situation. So again, you have all these lending platforms, MakerDAO. I mean, there's a ton of them, guys. So what they do is, currently now, when you put your money in the bank, what the bank does is they can borrow up to 10 times the amount. So if you give them, if you have $1,000 in your savings account or checkings account, what they can do is they can borrow against that. And that 1,000 turns to 10, and then they start to invest in different vehicles, right, that you have nothing to do with. So they'll lend to real estate developers, and then you just ask yourself, how many people here have received money from their bank in the form of a personal loan? You know what I'm saying? It very rare. I've worked at Fleet Bank, which is Bank of America today. I used to work in the fraud department. This is one of my last undergrad situations in college. And I could remember people that worked there for 30, 40 years were telling me, hey, I can't even get a mortgage from a company that I've worked for 30 to 40 years, right? So they wouldn't even mortgage them. So just letting you know that on paper, their algorithm doesn't work for us and the people. And even the big guys. So if anybody follows Grant Cardone, he's been dropping a few videos on, you know, even he doesn't like big banks, right? So we're at a point now where I like to call this space permissionless. Like, I don't need to ask for permission. Today I woke up and there's money being generated. Johan woke up, Jackson woke up. There's money being generated every day on your money, right? Bank account, what are they going to give you guys? It's so nominal in today's world. If you understand that if you put $100 in the bank, let's say if the bank does not charge you a monthly fee, it's just straight $100. By the end of the year, you won't have 100 in the bank, even if you didn't spend $1, right? That's because the dollar's failing, the interest rates are rising. Like, you're not getting the returns that they're telling you. Plus, they're giving you what, 0.025. Like, it's crazy. Even the high net worth individuals I speak to, they have high yield savings, and I'm like, well, I'm intrigued. How much are they giving you on that? And they're like, you know, it's not even 1/4%. And I'm just like, holy shit, you know. And this is, you know, 6 figures, almost million. And that's considered high yield. So when I'm in crypto and I'm trading futures, and you guys know this, we can make 20, 30% in matter of minutes, depending on when we get into the play. Now, where we exit is different. This is where a lot of people either fail or win. When I see profit, I take profit. When I see profit, I take profit, right? Especially in these times. There was a time where everything was flowing. We were in a bull market. You kind of, you know, you just kind of ride it and you're making money. So my biggest thing now is, all right, how do I make money daily in crypto? I got that vehicle. I don't want to sell my positions right now, because I still think there's upside to it. So if anybody knows Kevin O'Leary, there was a Bitcoin conference last week in Miami. I didn't attend, but he has a soundbite out there, and you guys listen to his speech. And he was just like, guys, when the regulation comes, the spigots are going to open up. So I'm talking about, if the stock market could be over 200 trillion, this market kills it, right? So I think there's probably over 300 trillion, dollars waiting to be poured into this. So you got to figure what that's going to do to the industry. So when regulations could kill a majority of the projects that are out there, now you're going to see the formation of the players, right? Because we have companies that are bigger than Fortune 500 companies that have been around for hundreds of years that just came about. So I'm just telling you that when people get together to invest, or they believe in something, right? Whether it be storming the Capitol or whatever people want to do, whether it's for positive or negative, it's the best thing that we can do as humans, right? It's our birthright to just have a piece. So if anybody knows me, listen, trying to put two together, rubbing pennies, listen, I've been doing this for a while, and I'm a pretty bright guy who's touched a lot of industries, and I still have my issues when it comes down to access to capital and raising money. and being Black in America, and again, I'm not using this as an excuse. If you're Black, you understand that, listen, we have to do a lot more, a lot more. And I've watched guys, raise billions of dollars off of speculation, never flip profit, but they're able to get Series A's. They're able to just get capital infused. With me and you, we don't even get access to those meetings. In a female, Black and brown community, you can forget about it in tech, right? So now we're to a point where we have a product that's out here that will flip the industries, on their backs, right? So no one's ever come after the banks. And this is the making of why these products were even created, because of the way that banks treat people right here. So today I'm going to segue out. Joe Hahn's going to talk to you guys about a DeFi. Well, what are we doing? The 2 DeFi projects just for today? You got to go on. I think you're on mute.
I said, yeah, sorry about that. I said, I'll touch on both of them briefly. Yeah.
All right, Jackson, you want to jump in also?
I can jump in where needed.
All right, cool. So whichever wants to start, you guys can go ahead. And then Joe Hahn's going to share, something with you guys on his screen, and I'll share. So I started one yesterday with Joe Hahn's assistance, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. All right, cool. And I'm definitely not going to be long. The first, good morning, everybody. The first project I'm going to start with. Well, like Steve said, my name is Jahan, and I do come from the personal finance world. So when I jumped into your group, Steve, it wasn't hard for me to, because I've traded options before also. So it wasn't hard for me to, make the switch to crypto. It wasn't hard for me to take profit. I think I'm pretty good at following directions. So even when things were switching, Steve was like, take your money off, so I was getting 20 and 30%. So, so my, I guess, relationship with money, I didn't already had a few hiccups. So where I'm at now, like I said, I'm really good with following directions. So I'm gonna give y'all some direction today. I hope y'all, follow some of the directions. Jackson, I seen Jackson. I know Jackson prior, like I said, to any of these projects. We both did life insurance together, and I saw him promoting, these projects that he was doing, and I probably watched him doing for about 3 to maybe 6 months. But one of them, it caught my eye, and I reached out to him. I'm like, yo, what is this? And he explained it to me. Because of who we knew together, I didn't feel like Jackson would try to hurt me or anything like that. So, I signed up. I think I put like $1,000 in there. And over the next 3 months, I probably made like $1,600. So, but at the same time, Jackson was putting out other projects also. So got out of one, and then it's like, as soon as he put out this next one, I was ready to go. I put in $1,000. This one was COTP, and that's what I'm gonna explain today. It's crypto arbitrage. And again, because I come from the financial world, I'm just looking like, what the hell is crypto arbitrage? If you guys are familiar with FTX, one of the co-owners, I can't remember this guy's name, but that's how he made a lot of his money, through crypto arbitrage. And what that is when you take, well, let me just go back. Like, say if we all know what Marshall's is, right? The store. If you go to Marshall's and you see a pair of tennis shoes for $19.99, but you can go on Amazon with our phones and you can see that people are selling them for $50. You can go get as many of those shoes as possible and then go on Amazon and sell them. And that's what arbitrage is. So crypto arbitrage is when people would take money, they'll go to one broker and they'll see that they're selling Bitcoin for $40,000, but somebody else is selling it for $40,500. So that little gap is where people make their profit. So that's what crypto arbitrage is. When you go buy low, oh, there you go. Thanks, Sam Bankman. That's his name. When you buy low on a brokerage and you sell high on a brokerage, and it's not huge margins, but if you're doing it, if you're buying $10 million worth of something and you're making $1 million, you're winning. And that's what Sam said he was doing. He said he was making $1 million every day through arbitrage. So this program that I'm gonna show you, excuse me, it actually does it for you. We're not the ones that's actually doing it. So you might ask, well, how much profit are they making? I don't know how much profit they're making. I know that what they're sharing with us, and what they're sharing with us is 3.3%. And that's 3.3% a day. All right. So I'm gonna show you guys my screen. Jackson,
I gave you permission on it. And guys, just before he goes right into that, this one of the things you have to understand, right? When you think of these numbers, these are the numbers that are being created by financial institutions today, right? But they don't the profits don't trickle down to us. You know, we're not, if you're a shareholder, then you're in the stocks, right? But even still, but these board members and the salaries of these guys, like these, they control a mother load of the profits that come in. And that one I'm not even so mad about. What upsets me the most is just the access to product. So as people who bank, who they rely on, they're not giving us the access to the capital for us to do what we want to do. So go ahead.
Yep. So I'm showing you guys, everybody see this blue screen?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So this is my VPS, virtual something. So it's a computer that's in the cloud. All right. And the reason I got this is because it allows me to run the script without, and I can close my computer and everything. So, we'll get into those details, but again, I want to show you guys what we did. So Jackson, Jackson has been doing this a lot longer than me. So his numbers are a lot different, right? But I'm pretty good at math. So Jackson put $20,000 in this account, right? When he put $20,000 in, and we talked, in different groups also, he said it was making him $700 a day. I didn't have $20,000, but I did have $2,000, and that was 10% of what Jackson was doing. So I figured I will be getting 10% of what Jackson was getting. So that's what I did. I put $2,000 in, and I was able to I was making $70 a day, right? And this here is my account now. Right now I'm at $6,700. And this is with me pulling $1,500 out already, okay? And this is what the home screen looks like. And what they're doing is they're showing people making their profit probably every second, but it's literally just showing people's profit. So what you'll do is Steve will give everybody the code to be able to get in. And then you would have to just register. So you'll go to mine at the bottom right, MINE, and it'll be a place for you to register. Again, I'm already logged in. So you'll just register with your phone number and a password. You'll create your password. And all we're doing is we're putting into the account USDT TRC20. All right. That's really important to know, really important to understand. But we'll get back to that. But let me show you. Again, I've been doing this since the 13th, I think, of March, right? And if you can see the top, you guys can see that, right, where it says total profits.
Yep.
Okay, all right, just making sure, because I'm just looking at my screen. So as of right now, I've made $2,879, right? And a couple of days ago, my script didn't run overnight, so I'm missing probably like $140, $160, and it was because I was helping somebody else. But let's go back to pretty much the beginning.
And like you pulled 1,500 out so far.
Yeah, I pulled 1,500 out. I started an account for my wife. I'm always thinking, right? So I pulled up 500. I pulled 500 out for my wife, and I told her, hey, you can let this double. It's gonna take 30, or it's gonna take 22 days for it to double. So you can either let this sit, or you can start pulling every week. So you can pull every week and just spend $125. So now that's $125 not coming out of my pocket. Or you can let this money double, and then you could take $250 a week. And so she said she won't let it double. So she'll be able to pull $250 and spend it on whatever she wants, and it's not affecting our household at all, right? So yeah, you can see at the 13th, on the 13th, when I got in, by the time I got in that night, I didn't really make no money. It was 14 cents that day. the second day to the 14th, again, at this time, I started off with 1,000, I'm sorry, and I got it built up to 2,000. So what I was doing was, any little money I would just add it to it. And then, with the profits. So eventually you can see what I would say by the 2nd of February, excuse me, April. That's when I had the 2,000 in. So I was making $70 a day, and you can see it. But then on the 7th, I added $4 grand. And all I did was took that 70 mindset and multiplied it by 3. I'm like, okay, this is gonna make me 210 a day. So that's what I started doing. So on the 7th, I started making 211, but with compound interest, it moves a lot faster, man. 211, the next day went to 219, then 227, 235, 243. And then the 196s, those are the days, well, 196, my script stopped. I was fooling with it, trying to help somebody like I was helping you, Steve, but I was doing it on my VPS. And I ended up cutting off my script and didn't notice it. So that day it went down to 196. And then at 169 and 133, same thing. That night, I hooked it up for my cousin, and that night it went off. So I didn't catch it. But as you can see, I'm back on track. On the 15th, which was yesterday, I did 215. And so far today, I made $100. And it's what, 1040? And I haven't done anything to make it, right? Just letting the program run. And you can see here, you see that $100, that's the $100. That's where I'm at right now for the day. So far it's traded 29 times. It usually trades about, depending on, how much you got in your account. I think mine was up to about 60, something like that a day. And this number here, where it says transaction amount, all that's doing is taking my $6,700 and it'll go in, and then it'll go back out to this wallet, and then the script will run back. And all it's doing is adding that 67 up every time it does that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So guys, compounding interest, if anybody knows and you're in the financial world, that's the way that you make money. When Johan came to me, what intrigued me most, because I'm like, the guy that taught you, tell me a little bit about it. So Jackson, he gave me your strategy, and I said, you know what, this guy's onto something, right? Because most people get into these projects and they have no strategy. So strategy in the sense is when you can create the calculations to know, okay, I'm going to pull this much, because the whole point is, guys, you want to just get your house money back, and then you want to compound and let that build, but then create a structure. So Jackson, if you want to go into like, if you're willing to share what your strategy is and how you pull money, so that way, if the lights ever do go out, guys, Jackson and Johan and all of us are in good positions, right? Because we've already recouped our initial investment and we're constantly pulling based on, go ahead, Jackson, just explain to them what your strategy is. And again, the strategies could be different for different people.
I got one up here, Jackson, for you to.
Okay, yeah.
This is doing 2,000. Hold on, I'm trying to move this Zoom screens so you can. So this was my strategy at first. Malcolm. I'll get the pen. You knocked it down.
I know.
I'm trying to move this.
Well, we can't see it on our end, so you.
Oh, you can't?
No.
Oh, okay. So you can't see the. Okay.
No.
I see the Excel.
Yeah, we see your Excel full.
Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to show you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you see that now?
No, you're not sharing now.
All right. So yeah, so I just did an Excel so I can, again, I got a plan. So now all I gotta do is follow the plan. Share the screen. And again, that's you can go explain it, Jackson, but that's if you started with 2 grand. And I got a couple different plans in here, but like I said, that was my mindset at first, 2,000.
So I kind of did my plan a little bit, I don't want to say different. I'm a risk taker. Not everybody throws 20K into a program that they just found out about 2 days ago. But so I've been in this space since end of December, like 2020. Got in a few programs, got my money taken a few times. I learned my lesson. Somebody told me the other day it was my tuition to learn in crypto. And so I want to say I lost, and we don't like talk about losses, right? But it's a reality. I got into it and I think I lost 30,000 last year just from being in the wrong programs, right? So now we do a little bit more research on stuff. I know I just said I just threw 20K in here, but seeing the background of the company and seeing who was in it, I felt comfortable with the risk because of being in other projects. I made house money back. So I'm playing with house money off the rip. And so I put 20K in here, and then I saw that it was making, I think it was like $600 a day. Was it, John, you said $700? Yeah, $700 a day.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, even if I can get 2 or 3 weeks in here, because your money's liquid every 2 hours. And I haven't ever seen a program like that where you could pull your money out in 2 hours and get that type of return. So what my goal was, like he mentioned earlier, was to get on house money as fast as possible and then run it up. And so I made my 20K back probably in, I want to say it was like maybe 2 weeks, but I was referring people also. So far with that account, I started with 20, I got it up to 25. I think I pulled 15 out, and then I put 10 back in. And so now I'm at 15 again. I let that 15 go up to 30,000, and then I pulled 10 back out. And so now I'm back at where I started, 20, but now it's completely, I mean, I use the word risk free, but I'm not risking my own money. So my risk is like significantly lower. So if say the platform did go away, okay, I made this amount already. Now I'm not in the hole or whatever. So I'm making money. And then I started referring people. So a couple people started reaching out to me because I'm of course I'm sharing on Facebook. I've been in network marketing for probably like 4 years. I know that sharing results is probably the easiest way to get people to see what you're doing. And if they're of the same mindset, close to the same mindset, they'll reach out to you and ask you about it. And so I had some people reach out to me and they wanted to join too. So now, not only am I making right now I'm making 1,600 a day from my trading. I'm also making 5,600 from referrals a day. And so imagine compounding $5,000 a day into a program and then still getting that type of return. I mean, if you can look at it, right? Because think about $100,000 that you have in a platform that, I mean, I'm gonna be honest and upfront with y'all, that could disappear. Like anything, like bank can lose, just like any company, banks can go under, any company can go down. But just knowing that you're at a point to where it's house money and it's making you $1,600 a day is crazy to think about. And like you said, leveraging what they're offering to other people, it's only gonna put you in a better position. And so a few things, the rules that I follow myself, never put any money in that you can't afford to lose. So like I'm not betting with rent, mortgage, light. I'm not none of that, because that's gonna change my lifestyle. And I got a wife and kid, and I don't think she would like our lifestyle being changed in that way. So definitely got to be careful in that aspect. She doesn't know about the 30,000 that I lost, but we won't tell her about that. We'll just tell her about the 115 I made last month, and then I'm at 96,000 for this month already. And so of course we take our risk with stuff, right? I think she's a lot happier with the 96 in the other money. But we definitely have to mitigate risk when we can. And that was something that just from the project itself, I was willing to take that risk and do it. And the program's been out since 2019. Another big thing that when I saw that, I was like, man, because the longer in this space, the longer stuff is out, I don't know how to word it, but it's a good sign.
Yeah, guys. So 19 it definitely is. So what happens when the rug pull guys just they recreate things overnight? Crypto is open source, meaning you can create a token in 2 seconds. We can copy Bitcoin code. You can copy any code. And that's what Dogecoin did. Dogecoin is the exact same code as Bitcoin. And you can put a project out. If you can build a nice website and create an incredible white paper, you can get a lot of people to come into the community. What these guys do is they entice you with high APYs. So when you're thinking about 3.3% a day, Hop's a good friend of mine from Rhode Island. Hop day trades stocks. So he's in the option game. Hop, 3% in the option game, you can make that in seconds, right? So just imagine, brokers that work for individuals and grow their money, the insane amount of money that just hedge funds make, right? Just by charging the fees and everything else. So this basically takes out the broker in between, right? So if we don't have middlemen in any product, if we're direct to manufacturer, we're not paying the same rate that somebody else would pay. And if this is going over your head, just think about all the guys that are making the millions of dollars a month on drop shipping on Amazon. All they're doing is buying products, just like he opened up with the Marshall situation. Is you can find this wallet online somewhere for $4. It might be selling for $10, right? So guys are just pairing and throwing things out there and not even holding inventory. So this is the same financial instrument here. So they're using smart contracts to create all these transactions, right? So in Nexo and any lending platform, they're going to need people to stake to build a community. This is how blockchain works. So if you understand a foundational understanding of how the blockchain works, you need individuals to run the actual blockchain. So this is why we get into node projects and other things. And this is why the industry is hard to crack, because if I'm a central bank, I have a centralized server, meaning Steve, can manipulate the server, right? But when it's decentralized, it's a bunch of servers from all over the world. We would have to orchestrate the biggest heist in the world ever seen to create this issue. So that means you would probably have to get millions of people on the same page and say, hey, we want to fraud this system. But if we're in it to gain rewards, we don't want the fraud. You know what I'm saying? So this project being around for so long tells you that the liquidity is constantly coming in. So if he's making 56 off of referrals, we'll all have the same opportunity, right? So, and this is just how business works. Network marketing is a big thing that's been around, and it all depends on the financial instrument that you're tied to. You can make a lot of money fast, right? By sharing revenue. So again, the banks use your money to make money, and shareholders, they pay out dividends. People that are in the know actually receive the mother load of the returns that are made, right? So we know bank execs, these guys are flying private. You see it, they get bailed out when they cripple the economy. So I'm just telling you, we're at this point again in financing where now we don't have to lay down and lose our money in the banks, right? We can actually go into vehicles like this, which is decentralized financing. The banks have the ability to do the same exact thing. The only thing was, what bank's going to give you 3% a day when they're barely giving you, a 0.25% a year? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, playtime's over. And I tell you guys, we got to smarten up. This shit is not getting any easier. It's going to burn down, right? This winter is going to be extremely cold, guys. By 2023, that's when the recession hits. This is a different type of recession, because we've never had a recession where your gas is $8 and then the food in the grocery store is not there. So now what do? You know what I'm saying? So when Johan is setting his wife up to say, hey, you can use this play money, you got to understand, now my wife goes out to pick the kids up and I'm not even driving because I'm from home. You figure every how many days she's at the tank now, and what we thought was a efficient car, we never assumed that the gas prices will be what they are. And mind you, it's not that it's getting tight here. It's just that it's taking away from other things that we like to do at the end of the day if you are on a budget. So, and again, I'm a guy, I do a farmer's market run every weekend. I buy the same exact items. They know me, they have it prepared before I come. And, you know, I can give it down. Well, I'm swiping, but I can tell you the exact amount with the taxes and everything before I leave out of all my markets. And I can tell you that it's probably a 25% increase since, you know, the last few weeks. It probably goes up easily 2 to 3% every week right now. So if I'm feeling the pinch a little bit, I know that people are really reeling right now because you're not making any more money. And that's the thing. If wages go up as inflation goes up, then we'll be in a great world. But we know that the corporate balance doesn't tell you that we're going to pay you more so you could afford more, right? So now what do they have to do? They have to increase the rates. You know, we're talking about 8.5. This thing, you know, it would have to get to what's the number, Johan? I think it's like 15, just to kind of, and you have to raise taxes too. So that's another thing that they're not doing, right? Nobody really wants to kick in. How are you going to pay more if you're not making more, but then your basic needs aren't met? So we're just showing you a vehicle. Can everybody see my screen now?
Yep.
Yeah, this was yesterday. So I took 1,000 out of my trading account on futures. Johan probably spent 15, 20 minutes on the phone with me. The process doesn't take that long. We're going to have the process structured. This is just kind of a Q&A, and you guys will open up the floor for questions. So I put $1,000 in yesterday. He showed me how to automate the process. I dropped in with the meaning of the
COTP.
No, not the COTP. Not the
VPN.
Yeah. So it's in there, and we'll give you the product that we use. There is a fee for that monthly, but again, when you're generating this type of income, you could absorb that fee. So this is basically just, you know, you just need the tools to allow your computer to run the script. So right now, you know, I have a dedicated computer that's only dedicated for this running my script. So that way, so for me, I'm just super leery. I don't like to go into my crypto account on a computer that I'm touching the internet with all day. So I have dedicated computers for certain things. So that way it just limits the access to my computer, meaning I'm not opening emails. I'm not going to websites I don't know. It's just straight to my exchanges, do my business and go. So now I have a money generating computer that's just sitting here and running scripts, right? So then you got to understand, just imagine a product, and then you guys know the bots, right? So when these new sneakers come out in these Yeezys, or even the NFT project that you guys joined me on in my group, they released 5,000 NFTs. Somebody just sold that NFT for $5,000, one of the NFTs. We were paying $30 and $60 at ground level for these things. But what happens is these guys have these bots that they create. And when they released the first 5,000, the bots bought it up in microseconds. So they were able to buy 5,000. So imagine being part of that bot's team. You know, that their vehicle is to really buy product and then sell product higher, right? So that bot at 5,000 could probably easily double their money and make 50%. So them paying us 3.25% or whatever the total is, or 25% a week is nothing. So when you're building these scripts, you don't have this large company, you don't have this large infrastructure. There's not these large salaries. There's no middleman. You know, there's no shareholders, right? And then when I start to research and you hear the owners speak, they'll tell you every major bank are calling the top DeFi products in the sector. And what are they telling them? They're saying, hey guys, we love your product, but we want the first position. So the banks and these guys still want to create and be bullies, meaning they want the mother load of the profit. So why are you giving all the profit to the people? Let's just keep it in-house. But this is, if anybody knows anything about crypto, when it's decentralization, is the money flows to the people, meaning you're going to start to see websites that are decentralized websites. We could own keywords. So the way websites are processed now is, me as a business owner, I have to pay for a keyword to get my product in front of you, you know, through Google AdWords and things like that. The new way of doing things is when we go search, I might own the keyword by running a node. So anytime somebody comes through, you know, that keyword, there's a profit share, right? That's created. Same thing for music. Right now we stream music, it's free, right? Or we might pay a fee for the platform on Spotify. But again, if you're not paying for it, you are the product at the end of the day. So this is eliminating everything and just putting the power and the profits back into people's hands. I'm just telling you guys is, don't wait on this, because like I said, regulations are going to come and they don't like this space right here. right? So Nexo is not legal in New Jersey and New York. There's a lot of states that are coming into, and it's really the states with financial interests that are getting screwed. Midterm elections are coming up. I'm not telling you guys how to vote, but I'm telling you that this Republican wave is going to be the access to us getting freedom. You know what I'm saying? Because when you got this particular guy in office right now that makes a particular call, gas prices don't have to be this high, guys. If you know anything about the reserves that we hold here, or even the Keystone Pipeline that could have been giving us more oil than Russia could ever supply us, once you cut that off, now you just cut the supply off, right? And this is why we're in the position we're in right now. So it's one of those create a problem and act like they have a solution. So I'm not telling you guys how to vote, but I'm telling you that under the Republican administration, money flows. And because we have access to information, we can now be in this money game. You know what I'm saying? And if you got to think, guys, and look at it, this is fact. Every 17 minutes, a billionaire was made in America last year. Since the pandemic, every 17 minutes, there's a new billionaire. So are things getting easier for you or harder for you? And how come these guys are able to amass this much wealth when everybody is damn near at their knees trying to figure things out? So I live in a great zip code. I'm driving to certain areas. I'm starting to see RVs pulling up in our zip codes now. People are living out of RVs, right? That's the first part. I don't know where you guys are from, but start paying attention to the amount of people living in tents. People are not able to make ends meet. So not only do you have the highest, you're coming in, you're acquiring an asset at its highest price in the real estate market. And not only are you paying more, but then, cost of material, cost of everything, cost of labor, the labor force is short. So people are going to start losing homes. People can't make ends meet. I mean, it's you're going to eat or you're going to put gas in your car, but you need the gas in the car to get to the job, but the job's not increasing your pay. So now it's taking you more to get to work, less pay. But then by the time you get home to buy the groceries, it's less on the table. And this is the rabbit hole that people are going down. So if I put $1,000 in here and I made $27 as of today, right? That's my, 3-point-something%. So by the end of the week, I'll have back 25%. So now I can hedge against that. That can come back down. And listen, I play wild, bro. When this money leaves this account here and it goes into everything else that I do in crypto, I could even get it in the form of a debit card and charge, right? To where I'm not, really playing with capital gains at this point. So I will show you guys what to do with the money. We would all formulate a plan together. And the plan is specific to your needs, right? So Johan's situation of telling his wife, that's to make sure that the little stuff doesn't come out the household, right? It is going to get tighter, guys. There's not going to be enough food. And when there's a food shortage, you have to increase the price. You know what I'm saying? So we're going back to particular times where we're not prepared for it because we don't grow food, right? And none of us are eating salads and things like that. So you're going to have to play to just stay afloat. So if you're not playing these markets and you don't understand how money is flowing, and again, the options in the stock market is risky. There's weeks where I'm up, and then there's some times where some news comes and just everything goes to shit, right? And Hop, you know how this goes. But when information is flowing through you properly, Hop, how are you doing in the stock market with options? Because I've watched my man grow and mature in this industry.
Yeah, doing pretty well.
Nobody else.
Yeah, pretty much self-taught. So yeah, things been when it's flowing, I'm in a great position. But like you just said, when things tank, certain news overnight I don't know about. Gonna be in the markets over there in Europe.
Yeah.
Sell off. I wake up in the green. 9:30. Boom. I'm in the red. I'm like, damn.
And listen, Hop has a career, guys. He makes good money at what he does, but he's still growing his wealth. He didn't hire a broker. He bootstrapped, and he's understanding how things are flowing. And again, with all
that's why I'm here right now.
Right.
I appreciate all the information you guys are giving out, man. This is very informative.
And I thank you for it, because the hardest thing to do is to really bring friends and family into the mix, right? Because I've been screaming crypto for a while now, and as people start to hear it, more so prevalent, right? So crypto not only started a war, it funded a war, right? It has people evading sanctions. So understand the power of this vehicle right here. You can't let this thing go away. You know what I'm saying? And crypto is going to decide elections in the next cycle. Maybe not this one, but the future elections are all going to be decided by crypto. And that's the main reason why the blockchain was even was created by Vitalik over at Ethereum. It was he doesn't want meme coins to be built on it, but he has no control over who builds on his layer of blockchain. It's really to put, you know, the voting system on the blockchain. Just imagine, you know, where nobody's in control, nobody can manipulate stuff. And then they got us believing that, you know, shit is rigged. Shit been rigged. You know what I'm saying? Like, you won off of rigged, you lost off of rigged. Like, this is what we do. But that's not our business, guys. Our business right here is to make sure that none of us drown. And collectively, it is in my heart of heart to make sure that Black and brown people don't get fucked. So watch it, guys. It's pivotal time right now. They're going to tank all our assets. Nothing's going to be worth anything. So we never played the money game. This is the first time that I've seen our people get into the money game. Why? Because access to capital flowed one time ever to us. And that was because of the pandemic. So whether you got a PPP or whatever the benefit was, I'm just showing you that imagine this, you always had access to that sort of capital. This is the world that these cronies are living in right now. I call them colonizers, right? And if anybody knows, the way I define the blockchain is what's going to keep white men honest in America. You know, it's one of those things that just can't be manipulated. So if you want to go over to Mark Zuckerberg and play with his meta space, by all means, go ahead. He just said yesterday he's going to take almost 50% of all shares in the marketplace in his metaverse. Bro, we just left a situation where we didn't have to pay you and you made money on us by selling our data. Now we're going to go into the blockchain and now you're going to make 50%. And then whatever I take out, I got to pay the government on capital gains. Do not fuck with this guy. I'm telling you that right now, guys. Start repositioning the way that you move. Start repositioning the apps that you use. I'm a big proponent and you know, I scream from the mountaintops to say, listen, go over to Fanbase. Look at what Isaac Hayes is doing at Fanbase. That is a social media website that is positioned for Web3, meaning it allows creatives to make money off their content. There's no bullshit going on there. There's no girls twerking. And again, nothing to that. It's just when you're part of this social construct right now, there's so much energy that has nothing to do with what I'm teaching. Then on top of that, they're blocking my energy from reaching people, right? Because it's like, damn, you Black and you teaching financial literacy. Nah, I'm public enemy number one right now. You know what I'm saying? They would allow us to stay quiet, stay put. But the minute that you start to build and bring people on, but the problem with what's happening now is the technology is providing this bridge for all of us to just get it together, guys. And if you've been with me since October, since I created the university, you know everything is about synergy. I held off on these plays because the industry was just kind of all over the place. And I just didn't want that sort of, and everybody will tell you that I'm super protective of what you guys get into, because I know that this space can eat you alive. And I'm probably like a 6-time rug pull survivor. You know what I'm saying? That's lost hundreds of thousands. And the worst part about the hundreds of thousands that we've lost is that when mass adoption comes, just think about it. If I lost 10 Ethereum right now, that's worth $30,000, right? I won't tell you where I lost it at what price, but I'm just telling you today's value is 30,000. What happens when Ethereum is 10,000 right now? That means the rug pull, whoever has that my Ethereum is now 300,000. What happens when Ethereum's 100,000 or Bitcoin's, you know, 1 million? So the rug pulls affect you way beyond, you know, I've dropped it, but I'm just giving you perspective of when you lose something, you can't call your bank to say, hey, put a stop on this, and they give you a provisional credit and you're going to get your money back, right? Because they're insured. We don't have those insurance vehicles yet in crypto because the laws have to come in. So this is why you're taking chance in a risky space. But when you follow Jackson or even Johan's approach to it, that was always my approach in the rug pull situation is, and sometimes, you know, I knew it was a rug pull and I wanted to get out early, but then the guy pulling the rug pulled it way sooner than I thought he was going to pull it. So even with Bernie Madoff, if you hear about that situation, a ton of people made money on Bernie Madoff. They knew what it was. They just knew they weren't going to stay on that train the whole entire time. So they used it to get what they needed to get. And even when you get to court, you have people who lost who are like, well, those people should give the money back. It's like, no, your greedy ass should have got off this train because you know that somebody can't sustain those sort of products with that vehicle, or you know, those sort of returns in that vehicle. But in crypto, you could sustain these type of returns. We know that for a fact. If you trade options or you watch the markets, you know that you can get 20, 100, 90% in a day. You know what I'm saying? But the only difference is now the money flows to the actual individuals, right? And this is why you can see all these transactions being made. So, you know, whether it be a penny, 63, I mean, you're talking about 21 transactions that add up to a certain amount. So as of now, I've made $27 on $1,000. So by the end of 1 week, I'll have 250 back. By the end of the month, I double my money. Right. And then at that point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off half and I'm going to compound. So when you start compounding all the interest that you make, you add it back to the original and that loan is working. So now you can turn 1,000 to 2,000 and then you're back into the 25% of that. But I wouldn't urge us to do that when we first start. We don't want to, and if you want to do it, you can do it. I'm wild like that. I've done that before. And you can make large amounts of money, but then you have to just be careful with the liquidity. You have to look at the project. So we've already sifted through these projects. And again, this isn't financial advice, guys. So we're in. I'm just telling you that I'm invested. Johan's invested. The guys that bought me in are all invested and they've been in for a while. So if you want to watch it from afar, cool. If you want to get involved, we're going to send, some documentation out to you guys. And then we'll have the whole process with the setup. The great part about it is if Jackson's able to create over $5,600 in referrals, and this is what keeps it going. The liquidity allows more money to come in and then everyone gets rewarded from it. So if you could bring 2-3 people in and show them how to make money on their savings, then that helps build the liquidity pool so these guys can spend more money. And that's the same thing with the hedge funds. They win automatically. If there's $100 billion in their hedge fund, 20% off the top on fees. This is how these guys make money. They haven't even made a move for you yet. These white boys are wicked with the way that they play. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about, Hop. This shit is here. It's in our faces. But what happens is we're distracted. We're on these platforms. We're dancing. We're doing karaoke. That shit's whack. Get your kids off of it. Start fucking with these accounts right here, because you got to understand that 8-9 hours that you spend on Instagram is money. Multiply that by your hourly wage, which you're probably 100% under what you're valued at. And this is how much time you're spending that you're giving away to them. So even when I lose, and like Jackson said, this was his introduction to the DeFi world. That was his tuition that he had to pay. But the issue is we've already paid the tuition. So we're going to show you guys how to lessen, your tuition to almost nothing by just following what's being said here. You know what I'm saying? Again, it's all group economics, guys. These guys are printing money like there is no tomorrow. Every single second, there's interest being generated off of projects. But this is the first time in history that the interest could be given back to the people. If you look at Africa and cryptocurrency, it's the one thing that's going to eradicate poverty in Africa. Those guys are so bullish in this space right now. So bullish. You know what I'm saying? So if people who are living in African villages are getting their shit together, then you fuckers got no excuses right now. Absolutely no excuses. Watch, the next play I do is going to be off of and I told Johan this the other day. If anybody has an American Express now has, and I'll get you guys access to the code. Their business platinum card is giving you 0% on pay over time. So if anybody has an American Express card, most of the time you have to pay your entire balance off, as you go every month. But they have a pay over time option, meaning you can keep, depending on what they give you, they can say, hey, $10,000 pay over time. So that means you could take your time. So they're giving me 0% for 12 months on a pay over time. They're giving me $25,000 that I don't have to do anything with until 12 months. And then the interest kicks in on it. So if I'm going to make 3.5% a day, why not leverage their money at the end of the day? My next twist after this one is I have so much Binance coin. I got into Binance coin super cheap. It's $400 and something. So I'm going to take the Binance coin and I'm going to, transfer that over into these investments. So now when I'm sitting on, super profit on one side, we're not all the same. So even if it was something that went in the reverse, I'm playing with profit already, right? Because usually I would use that to leverage, but now I don't have to do that. I can reinvest my coins in these projects, by liquidating them. I won't get the same position again. But, if I'm at $5,000 from Binance, that's house money, right? Because that's my profit that I'm taking out. Now, if I can generate 25% of that a week, we're looking at 1250 into 4. And trust me, I know math way better than that. You get your 5,000 back. And then when you start to compound, so for something like that, I'll compound my Binance coin. Why? Because it's way less risk. So I'm going to turn to 5 to 10. I'm going to turn to 10 to 20. And I'm getting my original 5 back on the next go round. Right. And then it's house money and I'm just letting it go. And then I might take a little bit, here, a little bit there to just hedge against this gas tank right now. It's my biggest enemy. My wife got a heavy foot. telling her to chill. So again, guys, this vehicle here, look up the DeFi market. Mark Cuban, there's a ton of guys making money in this space. And we're talking about small numbers. So when you start to go 20, you know, the way that Jackson did, there's guys in here that's going to mill. So if you're making $1 million a day, what do you think you had to put up to do that number?
Yeah, I got one guy in my downline. He's making $31,000 a day. And I think it's on house money already. So like his risk is minimal. Like he already made his money back. And like we said 22 days
Right.
With the compound, because we don't really have a calculator that compounds every 2 hours. So whenever you do the math, you're probably off by I wouldn't say a significant amount, but it's going to be higher than you think it is whenever you get to it.
It is a major disruptor, right? This is 10 times worse than what Uber did to the taxi commissions throughout the world. You know what I'm saying? But and remember, Uber was not legal when it came out. It was illegal. There was nothing on the books, right? And the crazy part is when Uber first came out, not first came out, when I moved to Philly, I was just so intrigued by the company. I said, you know what, let me get on the platform. I took maybe 2 rides just to see how easy it was to, 1, set up, and then 2, just to see what the interaction is with just being out there. So I took 2 rides on Uber, you know, as an employee of the company, I would say, just because I was just so intrigued by it. But then what happened in Philly when I signed up, they said, listen, if you get pulled over, because at the time it was not legal, they gave you a number to call, or even right from the app, and then they would send an Uber to pick you up, and then they would pay you to get the car out the tow. This is what Uber was doing until finally it was just, it created the system that we have today. And the only reason that Uber's around today is because people wanted it and it solved the real problem. If anybody lived in New York, you know that they weren't picking you up as a Black person, especially at night. You know what I'm saying? And if anybody knows about waiting for a train at 2, 3 in the morning in New York, forget it. You know what I'm saying? You'll just fall asleep waiting on that thing. So real problems. You know what I'm saying? How can you get something right now, you know, to take me somewhere right now? So just an incredible project. So I'm just telling you that these DeFi projects right now are the Ubers of the financial industry. And these are new financial instruments. So the longer you wait to get involved in this, not only are you missing out on the money that's being made now, I'm telling you guys, the government would not allow these guys to pay regular people 3.5%. There's going to be a fight for that. So the more of us that's on here, the more of us that scream that, yo, what are you talking about? These are private companies that can do what they want with the profit. So if Amazon right now wanted to give us 10% cash back on everything that we spent, they have every right to do that. You know what I'm saying? But these guys aren't in the business of doing that. That's not on their balance sheet. You know what I'm saying? But these guys here, once they create the script, they don't have people controlling them to say, hey, you know what, maybe the money should route here and give these people a little bit. But this is why we're here today, guys. So open it up to the Q&A. Questions. And just jump right in. We don't need, you don't need to, just unmute yourself.
I was allowed to digest, but I'm all in. I like it. I like what's going on with it.
And you know what the good part about it?
Obviously, I'm gonna call you, just like touch base on things. But
yeah, hit me in the background.
I'm just here to listen.
It doesn't take a whole lot of money. So for the VPN that we set up, well, no, it's VPS. I got to give you guys another definition. I copied the wrong thing. But on that particular situation, we pay $20 a month. So, you know, for you to start at $100 is okay, right? I think what's the lowest you can start in here? $9?
$9, but
yeah, $9 is the lowest you can start, but it doesn't make sense because, in 22 days, you'll get the $9 back, but then you have, in 30 days, you have to pay the monthly $20 fee, to keep your membership active. So I would say 100 at a minimum. I went in at 1,000. That was on a Saturday when I was in the middle of something, just to throw something out, but I'm going back in with more today. So Johan benefits off of this. And then I'm pretty sure Jackson is another layer on top, right? So you would benefit off of that.
Yep. It goes 3 levels.
Yep.
The first level is 15%. You get based on each 2-hour cycle, and then 10%, and then 5%. I think the person that has 1 million in here is on my 3rd level. So I'm getting 5% off of essentially his daily 3.3%. And so, like I said, and the crazy thing is it's increasing like exponentially every day. So I want to say 2 days ago, I was like 5,200. I was like, oh man, I hit 5,000 a day. That's cool. And then the next day it was 5,600. I'm like, wait a minute, huh? Somebody else must have got in here and compounded money. And now it's really almost out of control. Like I had to pinch myself every day that I pulled money, because I was withdrawing I think right up to 5,000 a day for the last 2 weeks. And so I've been able to repurpose that money into other projects. And so now what I'm doing now is I'm getting my account to 100,000. And so that'll pay me about 3,000 a day from the trading. And then by that time, I should be making 6,000 or 7,000 from the referrals. And I'm gonna pull 10K a day. And then I'm gonna get that another platform to 100K. And then I'm gonna roll it to another platform to 100K. And now I'm making $30,000 a day from these platforms. And I mean, that's generational wealth. That's and then I'm gonna start rolling the real estate, and then start rolling it. And then the possibilities are really endless when you think about it. And one of the reasons why I moved the money from one account to another one, diversification. And so if something does happen, you have other things. Because like I want to say, what it was 3 weeks ago, IPC went down, Johan.
Yeah.
And I was making 15,000 a weekend from that. And it went away, and it didn't affect me. Like it didn't affect anything. Like imagine if I would have said,
was that a rug pull, or was it just
no, it wasn't a rug pull. It was more regulations. I mean, growing pains with the company. I guess the US didn't like, they weren't getting no cut. And so they were like, hey, you can't do this over here anymore. And so they're in the process of paying people back. They paid a lot of people back already, giving them their money back. So that was a situation where they were licensed, they had what they needed, but I guess people changed their mind. And so with that one, I think I made 134,000 in like 3 or 4 months. And so a lot of people made a lot of money with that program, and they got majority of money back so far. They're still in the process of doing that, and they're creating clouds and stuff to make their system better. But just the fact that I made that much money and was able to repurpose it, like I said, to other things. Now I have a private broker that's making me up to 50% a month. And so it's crazy. This space is crazy. First off, just seeing what's available to us that wouldn't have been, like you said, available to us if we would have went to a bank or something like that. They would have laughed in our face, like, what are you talking about? 3%? Ain't nobody got no 3%. And on the real, they're making upwards of 20%, but they're just not telling us.
So does anybody understand the basics behind this?
I have a question, Steve.
Right.
So just so I'm clear, I might have missed this part. When you set up the this account, you're getting that small percentage on what exactly? A trade or someone else using a service?
It's a trade. So the crypto arbitrage part, right? So when he explained it in the beginning, they find in crypto on one exchange at a certain price, and then the bot is going to look for that same crypto on a different exchange for a higher price. So say if I went, Bitcoin is selling at 40,000 right now on one exchange, and they find it on another exchange for 41. They're taking large sums of money in their exchange. Like the guy, I think he said he was doing what, 10 million a trade, and he was making $1 million a day.
Yeah,
Sam. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so he did that. He started that in 2017. The guy's worth $24 billion right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's pretty crazy whenever you think about it. And then, like he said, there's a plethora of platforms out there that do this. Like I don't know if you're going to talk about the other one, Jahan, but as far as yield farming
It's up to Steve,
and
yeah, but depending on how much time, but that's up to Steve.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll touch on it a little bit. Can everybody see the screen?
Yeah.
So this is the other one. So there's also yield farming. So again, just to give you guys a simple explanation. So selling things on Amazon, you know that these guys aren't making 3% on products, right? Most times in retail, you're at a 1.5, 2, even 3, depending on the product. So imagine if a pool of people would give you unlimited liquidity to say, hey, just keep buying these products, keep finding more products. Now you could do one of two things. I could pay myself a huge salary and take the mud load of it and say, hey guys, hey, I'll give you 10% of your money, which is great in the sense of where we're at today. Or you could say, listen, we're all partners on this and I'm going to treat it according. So when the funds, you know, when the money does flow in, instead of me taking my salary and having to pay, you know, everybody and doing everything and you guys being last, they're able to trickle down 25% a week to you, which is not. And I think that and I know for a fact the banks have us trained, because when you don't understand how money moves, you're not realizing that, you know, I mean, when you look at some of these guys' salaries, it's, you know, and even if, you know, the NBA being able to pay guys $40,000 a jump shot, even if they make or miss it, right? These are the numbers. You have to start breaking it down to macro, because I don't think we understand what $100 million a year is for somebody that, and don't get me wrong, these guys are highly talented and they're probably well underpaid. So if somebody can give them 40,000 a shot, make or miss, imagine the numbers behind that, right? So if the NBA wanted to do a top-down approach and trickle the money to the fans that come to the arenas, for sure you could walk out of there with, you know, but that's not the model that we're in. There's never a model that is for people, right? So I'm in crypto, I own governance tokens, I vote on certain things that come to fruition with projects. So again, you can go a lot deeper in this industry, and I'm telling guys, even if you don't invest, at least know what it is. So that way, when you get hit by this train, you're not going to have any options. One, you're going to be priced out. Two, it's going to be universal basic income, but at least you know different ways to just accumulate. You know, this could really create wealth, you know, at $10,000 a month. And Jackson, if you're doing this full time, or you have a job also?
I have a job also, not for
Jackson,
long.
Right. So Jackson's
Yeah.
winning right now, right? So think about it. The guy's still working for what he does, but these scripts are working in the background. The reason these scripts are able to work is because of what smart contracts, right? So when the bots are doing, when they're picking up, you know, Bitcoin here for this price on arbitrage, they might find it at this exchange for, let's say 40,000. They might be going for 42 at that one. We're talking about high volume trading, seconds. You know what I'm saying? And the more liquidity, the more things move. And then there's different ways, right? So everybody's heard of staking. You can take your coin, you can stake it. They can give you, you know, those guys are giving you maybe 4%, you know, 8%. A year, which is still great, right? 8% is what they're giving institutional guys on the real estate side for hard money. So this is one of the projects here. I'm only showing the calculator because I don't know if we're going to go that deep with this one just yet, but just showing you guys. And this is what I'm going to do here. Johan, you're already in this project, or are you moving money over?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So
now this one again, numbers. I put 3,000 in this one, and every day it brings, well, 5 days a week, it brings me back $99. So the plan is the same, stay into it, get my money out. This one is called, what is it? I call it my fee. What is it called, Jackson?
Meta fee yielders.
I'll drop this link to you guys too, before we get off, but just showing you his 3,000 in 5 days. And again, these calculators could be skewed a little bit because the interest is being made, you know, hourly. We're not looking at this on a yearly situation. And then that's the good thing too. So when you get inside a lot of these projects, you tend to not be able to pull at a certain point. And some of them do have those restrictions just so that way things stay stable. But for the most part, when you can find a project that's going to allow you to pull money daily, meaning you could just transfer the money back into your wallet, take that off of their exchange, those are your funds now. So no matter what happens, you know, that money doesn't go back into the exchange. But if you're going to compound and you know, that $1,000 is whatever to you, then you can start to compound. So if Johan at the 3,000 now, if he wanted to go, for some reason it's not getting me to 30 days, but this is 29 days, he would get 58.71 in 29 days off of his 3,000. So when he starts to, it's double because we got to add the extra day to it. But let's say he turns his 3 to 6. this is what happens in the next 30 days, right? That 6 turns to 12, and then you guys know the rest. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
for me, I'm super bullish. I got, I have stable coins sitting on the sidelines. I have profits sitting in crypto that I'm willing to just, because I know there's going to be another Black Swan event that's going to lower some of these entry points. So I'll get back to it when I get back to it. And then I have the leverage. I have the power of leveraging my Amex card with 0% interest, on platinum card for 12 months. So you can do it any which way, guys.
So what I'm gonna do,
My-
also, Steve, I'm gonna drop my Zoom in the chat, unless you want us to keep this one open, because I saw somebody say, how do they get in? How do they get in the project? I see Jarrell. I can text you that, Jarrell. But pretty much, if Steve got you here, then I'll make sure Steve gets your code. I mean, you guys get Steve's code. Jarrell, I know Tiffany got you here, so I'll make sure you get Tiffany code. Just to make sure that the person will bring you in, they get the credit. Because we all want to make sure that we do everything, right for each other.
Right. My plan for that, the one that he just showed, is maybe every week, every other week. I mean, depending on funds, right? I'm gonna start a contract, and so once that 30-day, 42-day period ends for that contract, now I'm getting my principal back every week, and then I can double up, or I can go back in, and that's gonna create my income, right? So now I got an income coming in every week to do it, to decide whether I want to withdraw it or put it back in the system and let it go. The CEO of the last company is really like open, transparent. He's in the Facebook groups, he's in the Telegram groups, he's actually doing interviews with people that are on the platform. Like, you can request to say, hey, I want to do an interview with you, ask you some questions, and he'll give you his phone number, and you can call him and do whatever you need to do. And you don't see that a lot in this space, like the CEO being on the front. Like, nah, you usually don't see that. You usually have to do the research to find, like, you got to hire an investigative team, because these dudes are making tons of money usually. And I mean, if I was making $1 billion a month, I wouldn't want nobody to know my name. Like, seriously, like, why would I want you to know I'm walking down the street and I'm making this much money? No. So usually it's hard to find a company CEO that's out there like that.
Yeah, and that first project, it's been running for a while. So when you don't go belly up in crypto in a year, that's usually a good sign. Yeah. Sometimes it's within months, guys. I've seen projects. You just got to know how to read the project. When a project has no liquidity, literally, we can create a coin today in 10 minutes. We can put it online. We could all deposit $100. We could pump that coin. It's going to hit the exchanges, right? We get some guys on Twitter to blast it out. You'll see things doing 20,000% in a day. People chase green candles. You know what I'm saying? And that's when all the pool of people come now realizing they didn't look at the liquidity. You can't sell because there's nobody to sell to. So that's the issue. As long as these guys are pairing it with things that are constantly moving in volume, and if you know anything about my trading group, there's always liquidity. There's never a time, you look at the stock market, there's times where it doesn't happen instantly depending on the price you're coming in at. But in crypto, in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out constantly, And now that the market has evolved, there's so many products that these guys are investing in, and this is why they can give you these high yields, because they're making so much money. And not only are they making the money in seconds, it's the computers are what's generating the volume. You know what I'm saying? Me and you can't trade as fast as a bot can trade. And I told Johan, it doesn't stop here. So if anybody knows Steve's the guy that gets to the source. I said, listen, it's cool to make this money, but it's even better to be one of the guys that put out a product. So if we can, put our heads together and come up with how to really set up this financial instrument, it's ball game at that point. Now we could all be early adopters in a product, that our own project, that we know the owners intimately and we know what we're going for. So for a guy like me, it wouldn't really be to set up for just anybody to make money. It would be a vehicle to also take this stuff offline to create real estate and wealth, right? Because that's the true play for me at the end of the day. I can't keep all this digital, just to be able to do what? Go eat at, go to AMC. AMC's taking Doge and SHIB, if anybody knows. So you can start using your stuff there. But again, mass adoption is coming. you have to know how to create new wealth. And at, you know, $4,000 or $5,000 a month, and you figure what you put in is what you get. So if you could stomach possibly losing that initial investment to compound and take that money back in the second month, then just let that ride. But I could almost guarantee that you're going to want to put more money in. So if you made money with spots, you make money on a call play with me, start taking that money out and bringing it into, you know, diversifying into other vehicles. So that way, you know, you're straight across the board. I actually sold my first domain the other day that I bought, an unstoppable domain. So I've been, you know, you could flip domains in the space. So there's so much going on in the space. You have to understand there's so many guys sitting on so much money. You know, you just need to be in early on these projects, and you need to be disciplined enough to know how to maneuver and not be all in on one project at the end of the day. Because then once all your wealth is gone, then, you know, you have more money to get back in. But if you could leverage these credit cards, you know, a lot of you met me through Herman, you guys have business credit and things like that. You got to start playing that. And I'm not taking anything away from Airbnb. I did that, you know, Hop, you know, that my first condo in Rhode Island in 2011 was Airbnb when I left. So I'm a seasoned veteran. So when I see guys getting into the industries, I love it, but it's another job, right? I was just talking to one of my friends, he's not on the call today, but I told him, I was like, yo, there's something about Black people and passive income. Like, we just don't believe in this shit, but we believe in God. You know what I'm saying? It's like, we are so prone to work like slaves. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, damn, you make money without working? Nah, that's a scam. God damn it, we got to chill. You know what I'm saying? We have to chill. We have to redirect what we say. You know what I'm saying? Because words are powerful, and what you put out there is really what you get. You know what I'm saying? These guys are making money in these markets like you wouldn't even imagine. And if you found out, you would really feel bad about what's going on out here. 17 billionaires, 1 billionaire every 17 minutes in America. You can't even fathom that. You know, if I told you that, even if you read it, even if they showed you, you still wouldn't, your mind wouldn't allow you to believe that. So stop thinking that you have to work for money. That's if you get off this call and you understand anything that we talked about, do not think that you have to work for money. It does not work like that. Because what happens when you stop working? How much is it going to cost you to live? Look at your parents right now. Tell me how great of a situation they're in. Look at your grandparents before then, if they're fortunate enough to be alive. You know, I have a father living on Social Security that's disabled right now. You cannot make ends meet in this world on that. You know what I'm saying? So change the circumstance today. It doesn't take that much. I'm in. I don't present anything that I don't have my money behind. But like I said, we're going to create this group. It's a multi-level situation. So even if you're making money on your money, you bring some people in, you could explain to them. Even if you bought them in with us, we could better explain, but we'll have some videos for you guys to be able to follow a format, because not everybody knows how to really position to explain to people. But the power of showing you something is so much different than me just talking your head off at the end of the day. So the second one is in there. And again, I'm going to give you guys some documents so you guys can kind of follow up and do your due diligence. I'm in. So as you're waiting to get in to learn, I'm going to keep showing you guys. I'm going to start a Discord channel in our university specifically for these passive income plays. And then we'll just be able to communicate, you know, in and out those channels. The one rule I have, if you are part of the Discord, is, again, this is multi-level. Do not put your referral code in, like, I wouldn't put my referral code in your Discord group. You know what I'm saying? Respect the community, you know, grow your community at the end of the day.
Yeah, that private broker I was telling you about, is so, because it was a 10,000 limit in the beginning, right? So it grew, and now it's closed to the public, and they're thinking about opening it again, but it's gonna be 250,000 to get in. They're making 30 to 50% a month on my money without me touching.
And guys, I'm glad he brought up that point, because this is what's going to happen when the institutional money comes in. If these products are paying high interest, they're going to start to increase the amount, right? Some projects you're going to see, but the people that actually care about people won't do the 250 grand, because they know that that's for a high net worth individual. We're back to that centralization to me at the end of the day, meaning you're cutting a certain person out. So if this company is allowing you to put $9, right? $9 is about a half a tank of gas where we're at, maybe 2 gallons. No, I'm sorry, 2 gallons of gas where we're at.
Okay, I was gonna say, have a thing,
yeah, no,
dang.
That's the West Coast, you know, Vegas. Those guys are paying a lot out there.
Yeah.
So I'm just telling you. So when the money starts to flow in, you're going to start to see yourself not being able to afford these projects. But if we can build up to having $250,000 before the end of the year, or whatever the case is of what you're playing for, then you're in a good. Not only are you in a good personal position, but then you could take some more risk in crypto and be more involved. I'm not working right now for this, guys. I have nodes that I run too. So we've taught people how to set up their own nodes. My kids are making good money, every year passively on nodes. So there's other ways to make money in crypto without having to just invest in the actual coin or the project. You can invest in the infrastructure of it. Smart people invest in the infrastructure. This is why we're successful at the university in showing you spot projects, because we don't just look at the project that they're telling you about. We're like, all right, let's identify who's actually creating, who's creating the graphics. And then can they do that for other companies? And then you start to research and you're like, wow, they partnered with Amazon, they partnered with Microsoft. Like, this is exactly what's happening in this space, guys. And it's happening right before us. So we can stay on the dummy train, and you know where that's going to get us, period. Or you could just figure this thing out, because for every time that somebody tells me crypto's hard, I'm like, well, shit, if it was easy, then everybody would be doing it. So we're only talking about 5% of the population is involved in this industry. That's about $1.8, $1.9 trillion right now. There's still 300 trillion waiting on the sidelines to pour in one day. And that's 5% of the population. And we know that the entire world is going to have to be on this system. Can whoever mute in the background?
Perfect.
So again, and guys, don't lose focus too. So when you start to look at these billionaire lists and the Forbes list and everything, read the stories of how much money these guys lost. So when you start losing $20 with the hopes of making $1,000, like, it's unrealistic expectations. It comes with that. The lessons are in those losses. You know what I'm saying? But passive income in the DeFi sector is the biggest sector in crypto. This will be the biggest sector in crypto, because it's the financial instrument that's moving the world today. This is how you have your home. This is how you're sitting in front of your computer because of that. Everything that you swipe, everything that you buy, every credit line that you have is a financial instrument. And look at your credit cards. People with banged up credit are paying 29, 30% on their money, on credit. And you're not realizing it. So when you're carrying these balances over, how are you hedging against that? Eventually you go underwater. And what happens? You tear your credit up. And then you got to pay somebody $1,000. You got to spend time to build the credit back again. I'm just telling you that in this space right here, there is no credit right now.
Give me two bread and one spicy beef. You don't want one.
Daryl, just not Daryl. Somebody's ordering food. Just mute. And give me 2 wings and a side of fries. Listen, you guys got to have some questions. If not, the links are in. Right, the 2 links. Anybody that came in through Johan or have a connection with something else, don't hit my links. Just the people who found me through, my means of social media. You can click those 2 links, but then Johan would handle. He has a couple personal people on here that are part of that situation. So let's just.
I posted a couple of questions in the chat.
Okay, hold on. But you can go ahead and just ask them while I look for them.
One was in regard to meta yielders, set that up, what to do with that, and then
you're talking about to set it up.
I've already set it up. So, what's the next step from there?
Okay. Whose code did you go in under?
The one in the link.
Okay, so the one I just put in. All right, so I don't want to get into that on this call, so I'll pull you off of here.
Let me give you a call, Jarrell.
You give him a call?
Yeah, that was
right?
that's me.
I'll give you a call, Jarrell.
All right.
And guys, listen, everybody that knows me knows how to get in contact with me. Again, I'll be sending out information on our social media sites if you're not already following, to get you inside of one central group. And then we'll have, if you need one-on-one time, one of them is definitely. Both of them have their situations, right? And they're not difficult. Johan had me up and running in less than 20 minutes. And again, now it's like a cakewalk, right? When you look at it. So there's a couple steps. The second one is not as intensive as the first one with steps. So they're not difficult at all to get money over. I would just say if you don't have crypto, that's the tough part with
Both of them.
COPP. Well, both of them, yeah. So I mean, but the other one has a they have an
Oh, you can do
interface
Bitcoin.
that's tied in. Well, you can do Bitcoin or you can do credit card too.
Oh, okay.
I didn't go in through there, but I'm actually transferring my Binance from my Ledger wallet straight into there. So that part I like, the integration of that, because usually you have to liquidate and then transfer. So
for the VPN, did you give the link for that? The suggested one we should sign up for?
oh, the VPS, yeah. Johan, you have that one?
Yeah, I'm putting it in now.
Don't
Okay,
start
and then-
paying. Don't start paying the monthly yet on that. It's when you're ready to sign up, just do it all at once, because I don't want you guys to start something and then put it down and then life hits you tomorrow and then you don't get to it for a couple weeks. You want to
Okay.
do everything, when you're 100% ready.
Okay, and then Johan, the Zoom call that you provided, was that like, are you gonna kind of run through it more in detail for everyone?
Yeah,
Is that
I can do the technical side for everybody.
Okay, cool.
So with the Zoom, it's in there.
Yep.
And we can do it from 12 to 12:30.
Okay.
12, yeah, like 12:45, just because I gotta get my son out of here.
Yeah, cool. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so Johan will run you guys through it. There is documentation on step by step. There's a few things that still have to be recorded with some of the transferring of the crypto. And then they're using like TRC20. So if anybody knows, that's the Tron network is way cheaper than Ethereum. It might cost you $1 on the transfer. So we're using TRC on the first one.
Hey,
But
Steve
guys,
and
listen,
Johan.
there's not too many. Nicola, what's going on? Solana.
Hey.
Oh, I didn't even realize that's who that
That's
was.
her nickname.
That's her nickname. This
Y'all,
so
wow.
Nicola's in my
Y'all,
group
wow
too.
for that.
Solana is a blockchain project. Nicola makes the most money catching it going up, and then she rides it back down. So
That's her
nickname is
bestie.
Solana. How you doing,
Yeah, so
Nicola?
I'm good. I hope everybody else is having a good weekend as well. I reached out to Johan separately because I have a client call coming up at 12. But curious, without having like any understanding of the system, like it was great for you guys to do the demo. Appreciate Jackson and Johan for it. Is there like any maintenance that we need to do on the scripts, like once they're set, or are they like a set and forget? Like, how does that part work?
So it's a set and forget for the most part, but if something changes, Jackson is so high up that somebody will send it to him, and then we'll be able to send it out. So when we first got in, pretty much, I was probably like 4 or 5 days in, they changed their interface. Like they made a brand new website, made it look cleaner, and our script stopped working. So for like 2 days, our script was down, so we had to labor for 2 days. But Jackson was able to find another script, and he was able to put it in. So at the end of the day, when that script is running, we're all making more money. So we're going to, do our best to make sure that we're all making more money.
Okay, appreciate that. Like I said, I'm definitely in. I won't be able to make that 12, but Steve, I'm on your code and I'm definitely in, and I appreciate everything you guys brought to the group today.
Oh man, thank you, Nicola. And then we'll have something midweek also, and then we'll have documentation for you guys that we'll put out for you to be able to download.
Yeah, we're working on it now.
Yeah, we're working on it. And then guys, the same documentation is going to be what you can then, all you have to do is edit your code to then give it to other people once you feel comfortable. But if you don't feel comfortable, we keep it within the layers, and we're able to, if it's not Johan, to be myself and Jackson to help everybody. But I think if we're in one central area, or, as long as we have communication, it can go out, whether you're on whoever's Discord or Telegram, we'll make sure that you get the information.
Definitely.
And then everybody who has my personal way to hit me, you know what it is already. I'm not reachable. And you guys know when I'm not reachable, we've all talked about this. That means Steve cashed out. And I'll get back to y'all.
I get back to you.
I've been doing this since 15. I've been yelling at people for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I'm running out of energy.
I got you.
You know,
Yeah.
mass adoption comes. I'm kicking up my feet.
Yeah.
Steve has a plan.
One of my crypto mentors, he was telling me that same private broker, after the split, so it's a 60-40 split in that private broker, he made $452,000 last month. After a 60-40 split. I mean, he got money in there, right? Like he's pooling money into there because that company's actually been around for 6 years. And so that's more of a, okay, they've been around, they making this type of money. This is where my majority of my money is going to be. He started with $100,000 last summer. And since then, I think his count over $1 million or whatever. And so to make that much with no effort is, I mean, it's almost unheard of. Like he said earlier, if I told you about some of the stuff that I'm been seeing from the mentors that I'm having and the people that I've been in, you wouldn't believe me. Like people didn't believe me when I was selling, I was making $4K a day until I started doing lives and saying, hey, look, I'm compounding my money now, I'm pulling this money out. And then people were like, okay, well, okay, now I see it. And it's real to me. But it's definitely, I think the best thing that I like about it is it's possible for everybody. It's not typical, but it's possible for anybody that puts in the work for it. I mean, I've been like in the space for a while, so I know people that have, oh, I got $700,000 that I'm about to throw into this thing. I'm like, what? And so now that account 700 last week is now at $1 million this week. And so it's just really networking in that sense. And if you don't want to network, you still can make money. That's one of the bigger things too. A lot of these programs that you get in nowadays, you see network marketing, you got to throw in 20,000, you got to be in the company for 15 years before you make some real money. But with this, day one, you're making money.
All right, guys, listen, I definitely appreciate you guys.
Yep.
You know, on a weekend, Easter weekend holiday, at least,
Yeah.
you know, tapping in for 2 hours. But like I said, this is, I don't do too many of these spur of the moment, but it was time. You know,
Appreciate you,
my last
brother.
passive income play, you know, it costs money to get in. But this one here, we're talking about $9. But don't do the 9 because then you'll be negative because you got to pay 20. But I think if we all ride this wave together and we watch it, it'll be a great thing. And then you'll find a way to get money. Do not say that you don't have money. You know, play that leverage game. This is how the game is played. This is why you have these credit cards. They're not there for like bullshit purchases. And then guys, please be careful out there. If it's not something that you need, like a necessity, just hold back. You know what I'm saying? If you're thinking about planning a vacation and you're not in the position of having passive income coming in, cancel the shit. Do not, I'm telling you. And I'm not saying to save your money, make your money work for you in these times. So we're just presenting you an avenue. But watch those expenses, guys. Shit's going to get tight. You know what I mean? And you're seeing it now. Crime is up. Ribs are touching. They are not bailing us out. There's no more money to be printed. That's it. You know what I'm saying? The money flow is over. The dollar is dead. It's going to go digital. If anybody followed the news, go look at there's a Fed chair that was just filled, and I'll send you guys the article. I'm doing a live on it today. The gentleman was actually coming from XRP, so they're starting to align crypto guys in the government space now. So shit's about to get wild. You know, we have a friend who's he's on the SEC committee, crypto committee. So information also flows to our group that we then share. I don't put that on social media, but you know, as it comes, I pull some of my guys aside that are in the know, and we just make sure that the information, there's synergy in the information. So everything looks good, but what's going to happen is they're going to make everything look bad. If you guys have paper hands, you're going to sell, and I'm telling you, that's going to be the biggest mistake you make. Because when you wake up the next morning, you know, you might see something go from $1 to like 40 instantly. And this is what's about to happen. Everybody good? Andre, you good? You got a good understanding of it?
Yeah, I do. I'm gonna be giving you a call. Probably on Monday. Tell a little bit more. I want to definitely set up that the first account you guys spoke about. I got some more questions about the second one.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so like I said, we could dig into a little bit, but start researching like staking. If anybody has a one-on-one book, we've touched upon all of this, but just start doing the research. You know, put things in like, you know, how is the money made? You know, what vehicles are they investing in? You know, like I said, if I wanted to set up a fund right now based on my trading, the amount that I bring in each week, I could afford to give you guys 3% a day on your money. Because I don't ever clock out at 3% on any trades that I ever made in the future side. But when you start, you know, when these guys start investing in different vehicles, and all types of stuff. So there's a DAO that's out there that invests in high-end art. And you know, they bought a Bansky a year ago. And if anybody knows what a DAO is, it's decentralized autonomous organization. So it's basically a LLC, a formation. So what these guys did was they created a situation, a DAO, where people like us could go and invest, and they go out and they're bidding on the biggest pieces of artwork. So when they took that Bansky, they end up NFTing it. So they basically destroyed the original at the Sotheby's auction, which add more, you know, eyes on it, right? So everybody saw it. They paid in Ethereum for it. It was the first purchase in Sotheby's. I want to say it was probably like a $13 million purchase on that piece of artwork. They NFT'd it, so they created 10,000 blocks on it, and they opened up the bidding at $5,000. And it's only 10,000 pieces, so you figure they got the money back. But they're saying that that piece of artwork is probably going to trade for over $200 million this year. So these are the type of projects that you could be involved in. You know, who would ever think that you could own a Basquiat? And nobody is going to be able to outbid these guys, right? Because you figure even Jay-Z and Beyonce, they only have but so much to put on the artwork. They're not creating a business out of it. But when somebody's creating a business out of it, I could overpay if I know I'm going to make 200 million. I'm telling you guys, it's unbelievable. You could do the same thing with Turo. If you had 6 cars right now, you could set up the same type of system where people could come in, invest in your DeFi project, and the way that you make money is by buying cars. So now with all this liquidity sitting, you start to buy vehicles, you start to get the cars moving. You know what the cost is, and then once you have your profit margin there, if you start to let that money trickle down to the people, what they're going to do, they're going to keep putting more money in. You're going to keep buying more cars. And I'm not saying to do it with Turo. I'm just giving you an example of different projects that can, different ways of creating streams of income. And the liquidity is there in this market, guys. Once the liquidity stops, I don't care what market it's in, that company's done. If no more money is flowing in and out of it. So, and this is why this vehicle is so powerful, because when you could pay people 3.5% on their money every day, like, let's be honest, guys, there's never been a vehicle like that created until the blockchain came, which what happened was they're able to absorb that because they cut out every single middleman that you could even imagine. And the banks is not just you and the bank direct. There's a whole bunch of other people that have their hands in these banks, including the government. So everybody's getting their cut. Yeah, that's just a crash course in it. I don't like that my people are working harder. I do, listen, I come from that era of having multiple projects and using words like grinding and hustling. But yo, redefine those words, man. They do not serve us. We are not here to break our backs and then to just still be stressed out. That's the wild part about it. It's one thing if you have a great job and you enjoy what you're doing, but the sentiment out there is people are just doing things because they have to do it. Yeah. And it's this ride for 60, 65 years and then you retire. Fuck that. I'm going on vacation every other month. And it's only because I have young children right now. I'm not like really out and about exploring, but once that happens and we get to the space where my wife and I really have the time to move around properly and we're not on a school schedule, that's the only thing that controls my life right now is a school schedule and nothing else. And again, I'm not taking anything from work. You see Jackson is here working. Most everybody on here has a full-time job. I'm a big proponent of it, but what are you doing with that income to make it flow? If you're a business owner, take your earnings and run them into a project first. This is what institutional guys are doing all day. Apple just doesn't take the Apple sales and distribute that. They got that money running through a funnel. It's making so much money. You know, they're using these type of vehicles to make money. So we're in. Brant, good seeing you. I love seeing my guys from the West Coast on because they wake up early to catch the action.
What up?
Look, he's us up too. You had a long night.
Oh, we had Passover actually last night. So yeah.
Brant, how's the real estate market in California? And what's the gas price?
Gas prices are high, pretty high.
What's pretty high?
It's like 6 to 8, depending where you are. I haven't really seen 8 myself. People have pictures of it. Around me, it's 6. It can be under sometimes 5. They've been high though, but some places are getting up there even higher. Yeah, but right around me, it's like 5.5, 6.
So interest is going up, but home prices aren't going down. There's no inventory.
Not yet, but they're gonna have to. They're gonna have to with the new rates. But yeah, the inventory is keeping the prices up still for sure.
And guys, real estate, we just have a backlog. So you figure at the start of the pandemic, they had to shut the courts down. So everything from like, 18, 19, 20, 21 is really just backlog right now. So we don't have access to inventory that normally flows through short sales and foreclosures. And then you got to figure everybody that's in financial situations now and everybody that just bought a house overpriced that's underwater. If they lose their job, there's a chance that you may not be able to get employment back. And that's the thing. They keep saying that the job reports are good, the earning reports, but you have to understand when you don't have the skill set and you're not in tech, working delivery is not considered a career. And that's what is out there giving people a false impression like people are hiring. Like it's all delivery drivers. That's the economy right now. It's being moved through tech.
Hey, Steve, I'm gonna jump over to the other side. So I
Oh,
can help
12.
you.
Yeah. So guys, if you want to go see Jackson, he's gonna run you through the platform. Just get in, just do the registration. If you came in through me, just do the registration off the link. So that way you just have it registered. It only takes a few minutes to register. And then he'll take care of you on the rest.
Did you put up a link for Jackson's call?
Yes.
It's a Zoom. It's a Zoom.
Johan's call.
It's a Zoom.
Johan's call, sorry.
Yep, I'm gonna copy it back again. And then we'll have another one this week coming also. And then anybody that knows me, we could also curate a one-on-one if you don't have the time to jump in when we jump in. But again, guys, $100 minimum, I would say. But you want to go $9 and lose 20 with the membership, then so be it. Do you have the link for the VPS for them?
Yeah, I put it in there. It's VPSdimes.com. VPSdimes.com.
Okay.
All right, I'm jumping over.
All right, guys. Appreciate you guys. You enjoy the weekend with the family, and everybody be safe out there. Yo, we still in the pandemic or is it over? I'm asking for a friend.
Yeah. I see y'all. I appreciate y'all having me on.
All right, love you guys. Be safe out there.